Good morning, CEOs of General Surveillance Incorporated. We are the corporate research team branch managers here in San Diego, and we are reporting our findings on potential improvements to our company. I am Brittany Shaw.
And I'm Suzie Miller.
And we found a really interesting article published at the end of February that we believe General Surveillance Incorporated can learn a lot from. This article featured Thermo Fisher Scientific Incorporated, which is a tech company based in Massachusetts that focuses a lot of its energy on artificial intelligence and genetic sequencing technology. Thermo Fisher will no longer be selling or servicing their genetic sequencers to a region of China.
So this is mainly because Thermo Fisher has been experiencing a lot of backlash. Their products are actually being used for state surveillance in this particular region in China in a way that abuses human rights, which is not okay. So this decision to stop supplying and servicing this region in China was consistent with Thermo Fisher's values, ethics code, and policies. So essentially, these products from Thermo Fisher, which were being sent over to China, were being used by police there in China in order to gather DNA from all kinds of people that may or may not be criminal suspects often, and this was essentially, again, a violation of human rights. So this report that came out by the Human Rights Watch identified Thermo Fisher as a large supplier of DNA sequencers, which inevitably allowed this production of this unethical and extensive state surveillance system, which affected a lot of this province's citizens, unfortunately. So the U.S. Department of Commerce was asked by Senator Marco Rubio to take steps to prevent this kind of U.S. technology from being used for unethical purposes.
Chinese companies, a lot of Chinese companies rely on U.S. suppliers for high-tech DNA sequencers as well as microchips and other components needed to build artificial intelligence equipment, and that can be used for things like state surveillance and many other purposes. Once this unethical use was brought to the attention of Thermo Fisher, they ceased supplying that region of China with genetic sequencers. Thermo Fisher recognized the importance of considering how their products and services may be used by their customers, and our company also agrees that this is something that should be highly valued. Thermo Fisher was presented with a serious ethical dilemma. There was a lot of business in China that provided a lot of potential gain by selling them these genetic sequencers, and by saying no to that business, they lost a lot of money. However, they ultimately recognized that this ethical decision outweighed the loss of money.
So ultimately, being a social business ourselves here at General Surveillance, we ultimately exist to ensure that the security of our clients is maintained and to ensure that a right to privacy is not violated, which has a lot of crossover and ties between what was going on with Thermo Fisher in China and what we are doing here in San Diego and beyond with General Surveillance. So this whole issue of human rights being violated, we want to make sure that as a company, as a whole, we are abstaining from that sort of behavior. So for us, we found out that it is really important that we recommend for our company to implement a social responsibility audit in which our performance of corporate social responsibility is measured and reported on. So this may be something that comes annually or quarterly, but we do believe it's very, very important to take inventory and see where we're at as a company, to understand that we are existing ultimately to protect human rights and not to violate them. So just like Thermo Fisher, we need to learn to say no to the things that are dragging us down in an unethical direction, and to say yes to potentially even less business, but a higher ethical ordinance.
Yes, absolutely.
So, and ultimately, we know that these decisions are generally top-down. So it starts with moral management at the very top. So this is why we are appealing to you, CEOs of General Surveillance. We know that General Surveillance employees will continue to make ethical decisions a priority, and we want to learn from the ethical dilemma presented here between Thermo Fisher and this particular region in China. And we know that if we do incorporate each of these steps, that we can be very successful.
Thank you very much for your time. We are looking forward to seeing you in the future.